Brighton instead of that.
Hey, and welcome back to Sports Box, and we're here to give our thoughts and kind of review the AJ Usyk fight. And I might as well kick this one off because I went out on a limb with a bold prediction of AJ to win within 5 rounds, blast him out there. And I guess
5 rounds.
It was anything but that. Credit to Usyk, came in, did his thing. AJ fought the game plan that I didn't expect him to fight. We did discuss this in the last podcast, and I did say, to kind of defend myself a bit here, that if AJ does try and outbox Usyk, it's not gonna end well for him. But I fully expected AJ to come in, the bigger guy, impose his will from the get-go, and just try and get him out of there. But instead, what we saw is AJ do the complete opposite and try and outbox a masterful boxer like Usyk. And let's be honest, that fight could have been at cruiserweight the way AJ fought. You know, he didn't impose his will as a heavyweight, and he played right into Usyk's game plan. But I mean, fair play. I mean, Usyk, I think, you know, from being there live in the stadium as well, he pretty much silenced the fans within the first round. Everyone was looking around each other like, what is going on here? Especially, I think, after like the first 10, 15 seconds, man took centre ring, banged AJ in the face, and it's like, oh, shit. We're in for a long night here. And, he silenced the crowd pretty quickly. And, I mean, Henry, obviously watching at home, what was your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I just think Usyk, he did what, and this is what a lot of people, you know, didn't know or weren't aware of. He did what he normally used to do at cruiserweight to everyone that he fought. Angles, straight left. It just wasn't missing. As you said, landed it straight away. First 20 seconds, straight on the nose. AJ's nose went pink. He just knew what time it was. And yeah, to your point around how AJ fought, I kind of had a feeling he would try and do that. I knew they would probably overthink it in that aspect and try and use his physical advantages to box him. But he literally, stood with him at mid-range and let Usyk just do what he wanted to do. You know, if you're going to be at mid-range, then you let your shots go, show your physicality. But he didn't do that. He just almost got into a fencing match. I just got picked
boring jab. Pull it out and then get counted time after time.
Yeah, and he did rally quite well in the mid rounds. Went to the body a few times, and when he put Usyk on his back, he looked like he was scoring some shots and making an impact. But then Usyk, at certain points just took center ring and just took control again, let AJ know where he was, and then in that last round. Again, if you're over 200 pounds and they're hitting you clean repeatedly and you're tired, you're gonna struggle. And that's what happened at the end of it. So I just hope people, don't, jump off a cliff in terms of the criticism of AJ. He lost to the best fighter, better schooled, better skilled. The guy has had over 300 amateur fights, Olympic gold medalist, undisputed cruiserweight champion, beat all these guys in their own backyard. So AJ lost to the better man, and that's all it boils down to, unfortunately. So hopefully people can give Usyk the respect he deserves. AJ, you can commend AJ for taking it as a mandatory. He didn't. No one would have blamed AJ for not fighting Usyk and waiting out the Fury Wilder winner. Most of us probably think, why didn't you just do that? So no one would blame him if he did that, and he didn't. He chose to take his mandatory, and that just shows what you say what you want about Matchroom. They gifted him a title shot, maneuvered him and whatnot, but his resume is solid. He's shown that he'll fight whoever's available, and he did that in Usyk, and he came up short. I feel like the manner of his defeat means that he can come again in a rematch. I'm not sure the results will be much better, but I think he has that room left to where he can say, "Oh, I didn't impose myself. I showed him too much respect, so let me just come out guns blazing in the rematch." And why not? And we'll all watch it.
Yeah.
So, all in all, he lost to the better man. I think a lot of people feel vindicated by it. and other people I think are just going over the top in their criticism and kind of dismissing Usyk. So I just think this solidifies a decent era. Add Usyk into the mix. We've got a top 4, and then that's not even mentioning the likes of White, Ortiz, Joe Joyce, etc. So I think this is good times for the heavyweight division. Some people think we've lost the money fights, but I just think the state of the division will be better if there are more fighters competing.
Yeah, I agree. Hasib, I know before the fight we were talking about, you said you saw AJ points. He wasn't concerned with Usyk's power. Watching the fight, how do you think it went in terms of the style, the fact that Usyk was able to quite conclusively beat AJ on points, and I think as well at times in the fight AJ was visibly rocked as well. So how do you feel? How do you feel about the fight?
Yeah, it was a really good fight. I think. I was gassed after that Rocky 4 entrance. I was like, cool, here we go. Simon's right. We're gonna knock him out in 5 rounds. And then just the first round, I was just like, long night. This is gonna be such a long night, because he landed that straight left in the first. He got his attention, and then as the rounds went on, he just took control, and he just kept on landing those shots, those pepper shots straight left. And yeah, I didn't think Usyk's power would hurt AJ. Clearly they did. They rocked him a few times, and it was a really draining fight for him mentally. I think by the end, and what I mean by that is he had to concentrate pretty much for every second of every round, because the pace was so quick. And not only was it a physically exhausting fight, but it was a mentally exhausting fight. And you just saw at the end of the fight, he went back to his corner. He didn't get up. He was exhausted. He didn't even get up from the stool. And his eye was beaten up, physically beaten up, taking shots over and over in the last 10 seconds of the round. If that fight went for another 15, 20 seconds, he would have been stopped.
Yeah, I mean, the power element didn't surprise me. Anyone over 200 pounds, 15, 16 stone, as accurate as he is, and we know AJ, when he gets hit, he just shows all the distress you can possibly show when you've taken the shot. The amount of times where he got
so
caught
visibly hurt
with off-balance shots and stumble back. It's like, bro, are you hurt, or you know what I mean? So
and he carries on his head movement after the guy swinging. He's just like, and it's just like,
what caught me by surprise, and we mentioned this the last time, it was Usyk's heavyweight form coming into this. That's what made us doubt him becoming AJ.
That's what I was basing it off. The fact is he looked poor against Chisora, especially. I thought AJ's going to steamroll him. I can't believe in the mid rounds, AJ started to impose himself a bit more, and especially when Usyk was trying to flurry him. I remember one time he countered him with a great right hand. I think for the next 2 minutes, Usyk wasn't doing anything. He definitely felt it, but AJ was overthinking it. There were so many times he landed great shots. Like, right, let's put some more shots together. I think AJ was just thinking and stepping back and waiting for Usyk to make his next move, when really he should then been, getting on the front foot. He landed some great body shots, which visibly hurt Usyk as well. But what Usyk did well is, when he got hit, he just threw a flurry back, and it got AJ thinking again, like, oh, maybe he's not hurt. And it just, his IQ is just second to none. Usyk, you can see it in there. He just controlled the fight. Apart from a few rounds in the middle of the fight, every round he controlled. He'd come out some rounds fast, blitz AJ. Some rounds he'd come out patient. And I just think, AJ just completely fell into his traps, fell into his game, and just looked lost in there at times.
It's so mad how AJ's career's panned out. So now it's actually a scenario where he's trying to learn against elite fighters, learn against world-class fighters, learn against well-schooled fighters who've been boxing since they were kids. It's like the first half of his career, he just blasted everyone out. Like, he had no respect for anyone. And now he's trying to learn and, implement skills and boxing and things like that. And it's just like, yeah, mate, now is the time to show what you showed us before. Put it on them. And he's...
This is what happens when
you can tell he sits at home watching Floyd Mayweather and he wants to just become this, or Crawford of them, and he just wants to be that. Like,
Yeah, but this is what happens when you fast track someone's career
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you go
yeah.
win a world title when you're not ready.
Yeah. It's what it
Then
is,
that's
though.
what will happen.
To be fair to him on that point, though, I don't see how he could have had a good learning curve in the heavyweight division because there's no one to fight. Up
Yeah.
until he won the world title, he fought all
Yeah.
the journeymen. Obviously he beat White at the right time. I
Yeah.
still think he lays out White again if they fight anyway now.
Yeah.
And then he fought Martin. Like, come on, Parker. He could always beat Parker anyway. And then he fought Povetkin as well, which is a good learning fight for him as well. Obviously, he fought Vlad at the right time. That was a great fight. Learning in terms of going toe to toe with Vladimir Klitschko and getting the win with it. Probably one of the best fights I've seen. I just think stick to your guns. But after the Vlad fight, it seemed like he wanted to change his ways, wanted to become like a pure boxer when he should have just learned from the mistakes he made in Vlad fight and just perfected his craft, really.
Unfortunately, it got worse. Obviously, because Ruiz actually stopped.
Ruiz enforced.
Because he was tentative before that.
Yeah.
But obviously, Ruiz, it was kind of like saw him because he was a late replacement. Got cocky, floored him, and then Buff got caught, and then that was that. So even like it was before that he was tentative, but then Ruiz just after that, and then the way he danced in the second. So it's. I think he wants to be. He doesn't want to go toe to toe.
People always say Vlad was like a learning fight. That it was a real coming of age fight. What did AJ actually learn from?
I wouldn't say that was a learning fight. It just showed he's capable of coming through adversity.
Yeah,
I think he learned a lot. I think he learned a lot about himself in that fight. To fight Vlad in the way he did, pretty much be out on your feet from rounds 5 to like 8 or whatever it was, and hanging in there. Granted, Vlad didn't press as much as he should have done, and to then win by knockout 11, I think that showed a lot about his heart, to be honest. And I think he could take a lot away from that fight, knowing he can weather the storm. But he's gone the complete other way now, where he doesn't want to get in that storm to weather in the first place. He's more so now pouring a jab out, wait for the cute right hand.
He's probably thinking, I went to the brink. I don't want to go there again.
But he doesn't realize that version is ferocious. Like no fighter, heavyweight fighter, would want to face that version of AJ.
Yeah.
This version of AJ, I'm sorry, but why not get in the ring and take your chances? You're going to land some punches. You can see. If you're fighting the AJ, heavy AJ beast wants to come in and take your head off, that's a completely different animal, and that's what he needs to get back to in the rematch and moving forward.
I don't think there's a way back. I don't think there's a way back for him to come back. No, I don't mean careers over, retire or that. I mean, I think you mentioned earlier that, he can come back in kind of like good spirits for the rematch, and I don't see it. I don't see how he wins. Like on that performance from Usyk, not from AJ, but from Usyk, I don't see how he wins a rematch. I don't. If he comes in heavier, I imagine Usyk will still keep the pace up, which means AJ will have to go for broke, and I hope he knocks him out within 4 or 5 rounds, because that gas tank is just not going to last. Even with more muscle on, he was knackered in this fight. Add another 20 kilos on, 30 kilos on, or whatever. It's going to be harder for him. He's not going to outbox him. I just don't see how he does it. He's not the leaning kind of fighter like Fury is, where he can use that weight as an advantage. I felt that the speed was off. This was the slowest AJ I've ever seen. Really slow. The jab had 0 pepper in them.
I wouldn't go that far. That was Usyk's timing. Usyk's timing.
That was it, man. Usyk made him second guess everything he did.
The jab was terrible.
The jab was terrible. Slow. It was hesitant.
The foot movement.
He's only just learned to box on the perimeter. He's only just learned that. Usyk been doing it from the amateur.
No, and that's fine. But what I'm saying is that doesn't give his chances any improvement. Like, I don't see how he wins this fight in the rematch. I would take it because he's not going to get another opportunity.
I think he's got a chance in the rematch if he, from the get-go, imposes his will on Usyk. He's going to have to come through fire, and it probably means that he loses, by stoppage eventually.
Which is fine. If you go for broke and you get stopped, it's fine.
Usyk felt shots when AJ was able to land when he decided to. Usyk felt it, so that would be his only bet. I wouldn't say no chance. Like I wouldn't go that far. But the smart money wouldn't be on AJ to pull it off.
AJ has to make it, aggressive from the start. As you said, he has to use his weight, throw some shots, tie him up, lean him against the ropes, drain him, make him feel like he's in there with a significantly bigger man, which he is, and just body shots, pound him, tie him up. As I said last time, I felt it was too pally before the fight. I don't want to see guys taking selfies, being all friendly and that. At the end of the day, you can save that for after the fight. You don't have to be disrespectful, insulting each other's family, throwing shit around the place, but don't be all friendly, because at the end of the day, this guy's looking to come take all your belts home. He's looking to basically shorten your career, knock you off the top spot. Don't have that. And you can see after the fight, the venom was back in AJ a bit. And I want to see that in the build-up to next fight. And I don't want to see this friendly stuff.
You saw the venom back after this fight?
Yeah, in interviews, he seemed very... Obviously, he's just lost, so he's pissed.
I thought he was defeatist.
No.
I thought the body language was terrible. It was like, yeah, I just lost him. It's fine. Like, we'll come back. And I know the standard line that he does say is, it's all good. We'll come back stronger and all this. And so many changes he needs to make. The training setup is so wrong. The instructions were way off. Rob McCracken, I don't think had anything right. You could hear him in the corner. It was terrible. Apparently, he said to Spencer Fearon that he thought that AJ had done enough to win on points. Like, what was he watching? Like, outboxing the boxer for a guy who does not box that well. When you compare to other good boxers, everything was just so wrong. And coming back to the press conference, like, I didn't see any spite, any venom, I saw it after Ruiz. I saw it then. I didn't see it then. This, for me, was like, he knew he got beat by the better guy, and he's now struggling to understand how he's going to come back from it. That's what I took.
Yeah, the game plan was definitely, well, from most people's observation, quite wrong. But to the point around AJ's attitude after the fight and all that, I just feel like he's someone who knows his limitations. I feel like he knows his limitations. When you know your limitations and they get exposed, what are you going to say? Like make excuses, or what I mean? It's kind of, I feel like that's his personality as well.
It kind of leans on the team. Obviously, there's been a lot of people saying, McCracken should be fired and this kind of stuff, and I've shied away from that because I didn't feel that after losing to a guy like Usyk, you should be firing your trainers right away. But I do think they need to have a hard look at themselves and understand where that game plan was born from. Because anybody, if you ask anybody, anybody who's watched Usyk fight, should AJ try and outbox him? The answer would be no straight away. So I don't understand how they even came up with that plan. Don't know what they were thinking. I think, if McCracken's going to stick with that whole, boxing and think, we can just box better in the next fight, then if that's the game plan, then he needs to be fired right away. Right. And it's a shame Fury's at Kronk Gym, because it'd be great to get AJ with Sugar Hill, because I think that would be potentially a match made in heaven in terms of style and the attitude, because AJ just needs to get back to that way very quickly of just going there and just trying to blast guys out.
Yeah, it's weird. The game plan confuses me. It almost feels like, the game plan of like an underdog or a B-side.
Yeah.
And they're fighting like some feared puncher, and they win enough rounds to make the distance, and they don't get stopped, and they score some points and win a couple rounds, and it feels like a moral victory. It's almost like the game plan was that, because they were scared he was going to get knocked out. So I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't just tell him, look, you need to put it on him. Maybe they just feared Usyk that much, and they were like, if AJ gets reckless, it's going to be over ASAP. I don't know. But yeah.
Even the ring walk, also I was at the stadium, it's great vibes. I'm not going to lie, I was enjoying the ring walk, but he was way too relaxed. He's leaning in, kissing, hugging fans in the freaking crowd, shaking hands. I've
always found him relaxed, though, on his ring walks.
Yeah, but that's I've never seen him do it that much before.
I reckon he's trying to be like Pacquiao.
Maybe, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, it's a bit too much. I'm not gonna lie.
Was Rocky kissing fans in the films? Maybe he got a bit too much on the Rocky 4 vibe. I don't know.
In the rematch, he better come out like George Groves, literally just sprint in the ring. Just come out and then just run to the ring. Do you know what I mean? But I was watching Usyk in the ring walk, and it's funny. Man was just dancing around in the corner and that, just like keeping loose and that. He wasn't bold. He's probably enjoying it as well, knowing the clinic is about to put on. So I always thought if the AJ ring walk's a bit of mind games, to make the person wait a bit more. But it definitely didn't work against Usyk, and yeah, it's mad. But what I don't like as well, I've seen all the fans now turning against AJ, saying he's a hype job. He's clearly not a hype job for losing someone like Usyk. It just shows they don't know who Usyk is and never seen him fight before. And in the stadium as well, it's funny how silent the fans went. And you hear some crazy stuff when you're there. Once he lands the right hand, it's game over. Watch.
What, thinking Joshua is going to come back?
I know. And then the same guys that left at the end of round 11, I'm thinking, fucking hell, mad. Could you imagine leaving at the end of round 11? As you're walking out of the stadium, you hear like the crowd going mad because he's literally knocked him out in the last round. Like, it's crazy, like some of the shit that you see. But yeah, I just have a feeling that if AJ loses a rematch, that's it. In terms of like the British love for him and the fans backing him, you know, they run off and they find someone else to.
Yeah, there'll be no more interest.
Yeah, definitely.
He'll always kind of be a decent draw, but yeah, it won't be the massive events anymore. We'll see. Well, he's saying he's going to activate the rematch clause. So we'll see.
He ain't got no choice really. What's he going to do? Fight maybe the loser Fury?
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
And then risk that, or fight White? No point giving White another fight. I don't think right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
he's not going to get another Fury for the belts. He won't. Fury probably won't if he wins against Wilder. And he's not. If he doesn't take the rematch clause now, he's probably never going to fight for the titles again. He has to.
But I do think whoever unifies the division and comes undisputed, like let's just say if let's say AJ hypothetically wins a rematch, gets his belt back, Fury beats Wilder, beats the next scrub, and then they fight each other. I reckon they should just do 2 fights. Then the winner who's got all the belts just vacate all the belts, and then let the next person then do all this all again. Because people seem to think it's easy.
Yeah.
Like Dylan White talking loads of trash after fight. My man's got 3 belts or 3 different fighters and potentially can be undisputed. That is not easy to do. I was Lennox Lewis, the last person to hold all the belts.
Yeah. Well,
you know, and to think then that fighters can come up and then collect the belts, you know, in one fight. You know, let's see someone else now win all those belts.
Unify. Yeah.
And I think you can give Fury a pass. Obviously, Fury's not WBC at the moment, but he'd already won all those belts anyway, and then vacated them. So I think it would be fitting for those.
He's won all the belts, hasn't he? He's won all the belts. Separately.
He's won all the belts, not at the same time, but obviously.
Who?
Fury. He won all those off Vlad, and then he dropped them all, didn't he? And then he's won the WBC now again. So I think AJ versus Fury, hopefully that fight still can come off. But obviously AJ's got a mountain to climb now in this rematch.
Yeah. He has to take it one fight at a time now.
Let's assume Usyk wins the rematch. Who beats him at heavyweight?
He beats Usyk.
Yeah.
Fury. Definitely.
Anyone else? Because if you asked me a week ago,
I'd lean more Wilder. The more I think about it.
Because if you ask I
think Wilder could be anybody because power, but I just think his boxing ability. Like if people thought AJ was a bad boxer, wait till they see what Usyk does to him, and we'd only just for Wilder, if he lands that one punch against Usyk, which he could do because AJ was tagging him, but.
Yeah,
he would have fits against Usyk, literally.
I just feel like Tyson's a great boxer, great skills for his size. I just feel like at that size, he hasn't come across anyone close to Usyk's boxing ability, and I think it will be a different thing for him. I can see Usyk pulling it off against Fury. I can definitely see him doing it against Wilder, but I can't bank on Wilder not landing and just because Usyk, as sick as he is, you can tell when he feels a shot. You know what I mean? He's not invincible. He gets hit, gets marked up.
His face after the fight, he looked like
AJ caught him with a couple sneaky rights and stuff.
He didn't make the most of it.
Against Wilder, that's what will scare me more than I feel like him and Fury will just. If he can lure Fury into that clownery, I feel like.
The one thing with Fury though is he uses his weight so well, and I think he would just train the shit out of Usyk. He'd be just smothering him.
Yeah.
Well,
he's not done. He would have watched AJ and been like, "You No wonder I think I'll knock you out inside of 2 rounds. Yeah. However he says it. I'll knock you out inside 2 rounds.
Be the easiest fight I've ever had.
Yeah.
Who do you think beats Usyk this week?
Fury, for sure. It's really weird because if you asked me a week ago, I would have been like, yeah, you know, just because they're all naturally bigger guys, they'll punch harder. It's difficult. I think actually a fight like White would be really interesting, more so than a Fury fight. Fury fight with me is just boring. Yeah. It's going to be.
It would be fun. I wouldn't want to watch.
Pitching. Yeah, we wouldn't really go into. Fury Usyk would be cool because it's either going to be a knockout or a bit of a masterclass. Probably similar to the AJ fight. But White, it sounds crazy, but I would give White a bigger chance of beating Usyk than a Joshua or Wilder even. Like White has that.
That's the White will just step to him.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Chisora, but an improved Chisora version. You know, he'll smother him. He'll be on the front foot. He'll be landing shots.
I don't think White's as cute as Chisora in terms of that come forward smothering. I thought that White takes shots a lot more cleanly, and that spells that's not good news. Obviously, he's got a better equalizer, but I can just see White with him big.
How frustrated would White be after 3 rounds of Usyk, though? Literally, how frustrated would he be?
Yeah.
He'd be swinging it. Like some of them haymakers he throws are mad. He makes Wilder look inaccurate, but crazy.
A pre AJ version of White, I think, gives Usyk trouble. You know, where he's like not getting and not being sensible, and he's just being reckless. Like that kind of White, I think actually causes Usyk a long night. Chisora put it on him for all 12 rounds until he gassed out, but he put it on him, and Usyk struggled. Usyk didn't look great. Whereas these other boxers, you don't really want to go boxer to boxer or try and be too cute with the boxer.
Yeah.
And Chisora and White, I think, have just these horrible styles for him. So I think, definitely Fury, but maybe a couple of the unexpected ones as well.
Fair enough. So obviously we've got some time to wait until the rematch is upon us. But right now is the kind of consensus that AJ loses the rematch.
Yeah, smart money. I'll learn my lesson.
You know what? I don't know. I might get pulled into the hype again and go for 5 rounds again. If he comes in heavy, then I'll be backing him to blast him out of there because that was the original game plan. So we never know. But if he comes in trying to outbox him again, then he'll get knocked out next time, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see. But we have to wait and see. Obviously, we've got the Fury Wilder fight coming up again, which we will be reviewing and previewing shortly. But until then, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys soon.